Hello everyone, this is Pepin NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin and let's play some NHL. So we're on Season 7, Episode 7, where I've taken over the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we're in the off-season, having just won our 4th Stanley Cup in 7 seasons. And yeah, we're working on what we're going to do. In the previous stream, we traded extra assets to pick up a young prospect defenseman, because those seem to be pretty hard to come by from the computer-generated ones. So that was kind of a priority. So with the rest of our roster, it's extremely deep with computer-generated players. So what do we have here? So Judry, Ollie. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 that we're keeping. A 9th that we're going to be trading away. So yeah, there's tons. They're relatively easy to find. To find players that fit and are to my liking, that's a different story. But you can tell just from how things are filled up that they're pretty easy to get. And then defensemen, we have the one that core, who's the young prospect we just picked up. So yeah, so that's good news. And what I haven't done yet, and I'm actually going to, I was going to say I forgot to, but it's more like I didn't have time to update the reference document I have. So basically my process/procedure at different points in the season. So what I should do is do that now before I forget. So trade for good quality prospects. And then we need, first is defense, because they're rarest. Well, I guess goalies are more rare, but defense, there's goalies in general are easier to come by than defense, I think. Maybe actually that's the opposite. So you know what? We'll say goalies first. Defense second. Forwards third. So we already did our scouting and traded for any of the defensemen we would have wanted. And so the issue with the rest of them right now is that they're all like 79 overall, which I know it's only 2 percentage points off, but we can pick up other regular NHL defensemen that are, like, a great example is like Hamilton at 82, Morrissey at 84, at least at this point, because the real life players haven't all retired yet. So, and then I would rather go with one of these known commodities with, for example, like an 85 poise versus getting some prospect guy that has like a 75. And so again, I don't know for sure that necessarily has an impact on performance either in the regular season, playoffs, or both, but I have a feeling it does. And my assumption is probably correct, given how frequent we've won Stanley Cups and President's Trophies so far. So I'm just going to keep going with my gut, and because it's worked for me so far. So anyways, so we picked up the one, and we already have the second of the two good computer-generated defense. What I didn't check, and I didn't think of to check, but I will check now, is computer-generated goalies. And then next I'll do forward. So that, like I said, I just added into my procedure here. I did it automatically without having it included in past streams, but this, I'm always trying to, improve on my strategy. So add that in to make, so if you've got a procedure, it makes it kind of stupid proof. You can't forget if you follow it. Now, the one catch, and as I'm sure you may have seen already, is I'm a bit of a checker, so obsessive compulsive, I guess, to some degree. So I'll do something and I'll check it multiple times. The good thing is I'm less likely to miss it. The bad thing is that it takes up more time, but I'd rather get it right and take longer than get it wrong and take less time. This guy's not bad, actually. Poise of 73, 22 years old. 78 overall is the problem. And we need a goalie that's actually going to start. We need an NHL goalie. We could get him for the AHL, but I'd rather let another team develop him. Because, so this is a great example. He's going to turn out being the backup, at least at this point with Buffalo. And then that means he's going to get experience. That means he's going to go up in overall. Whereas if we had him, he can't even play. So what's the point in having him? So we have two guys already we're happy with for goalie, but we need a third eventually, and we're always going to be rotating through three. I forget what his poise was. Yeah, so it's about the same. So he's technically better of the computer-generated one. So 21 years old, 81 overall, whereas this guy, 22, and he's 78. So what's the point? And then Thompson, our third goalie, has served us well. We've won 2 cups with him as the primary starter. So, yeah. So anyways, we'll have a quick scan through. Maybe I did already do this, but I can't remember. This guy keeps standing out to me, but his performance has never been that great. His team hasn't been that great as well. His poise is good, but I just have concerns that he's going to not play well. Also, he's making too much, so it's just not a good fit. Which is funny, because I think it was 3.4 or something like that. For that to be too expensive might sound crazy to you, but the whole plan is basically $1 million-ish per goalie. At some point, we might adjust that strategy to accommodate slightly better salaries, but at this point, it doesn't really work or make sense. So it does not look like there's anybody, so that means maybe I did already do it. Now we need to check for forwards. And the reason we're doing this, so as I mentioned previously, we were thinking about trying to get Pasternak back because we need to get rid of Hughes because he's asking for too much in his extension. So we won't pay Hughes because I think he was asking for 11 or 12 million or something like that. It's at a point where that's actually a reasonable contract, but a great example. Let me just finish looking through this team here. So a great example is a couple of the young guys that we signed up for long term, like Nichushkin, 23 years old, producing nearly a point per game in some of those seasons. And we have him locked up. Oh, I clicked on the wrong button there. We have him locked up for 6 more years at 6.2. So yes, Hughes, he was the Art Ross Trophy winner last season, but the difference in point production versus the salary. So would you rather spend 6.2 million and get like just shy of a point per game, or pay 12 million, so double, and get maybe a slight increase in performance? Why would you do that? I get it that it's harder, it's more rare, but I would rather 3 lines of guys producing at approximately a point per game, because we can afford to do that, versus like 2 or 1.5 lines where you're getting more production, but then you have no depth, and if you have any of those guys injured, you're completely screwed. So makes tons of sense. And that's where, like I've said before, I did a series where I developed a management strategy for NHL GMs. I think it's called Creating the Perfect Roster or something like that. So it's a very long series, but it explains, well, first I actually try to solve the problem, and then I create the strategy, define the problem, answer a whole bunch of questions that are relevant, and then try to answer the question and create the strategy. So, and I did it all on the spot live, so you get to see my whole problem-solving process and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, it's all, long story short, it's all explained there. Who is this guy? I haven't noticed him yet. 82. Poise. It's always the first thing I look at, and he's 22 years old. Pretty decent production in his first season. The problem is that he's probably expiring, so. Whoops. We clearly could go for him, but it just doesn't line up. So this is what I mean, is there's plenty of options out there. So I'm more, I guess, looking at the high-end prospects, but I still want to have a scan of the rest just to see what's out there. Maybe I should do this by trade value, not overall. So like 79 at 17 years old is great. It's just that he's got to develop, and who knows how long that's going to take. And we want to win a cup every single season is the goal, so it just doesn't fit. Is this the... No, I don't think it's the same guy. See the problem again, expiring contract. So this guy stands out. Oh, they've got it split up, so they combine the stats. 35 points in 67. Two years left. Says he doesn't fit either, so this guy also stood out. I think those are NHL numbers, yeah. 34 goals, that's hard to come by. And look, 43 in his rookie season, that's crazy. The problem is expiring again, so would be interesting. Oh, maybe just out of interest, yeah, it doesn't even tell us what his personality's like. 18, this guy, I think he was just drafted. It's really good production. What is it, USHL? Is that the name of the league? Very good, but we can't send him to junior, and that's a problem. So it's either you're playing now or we're going to develop you in junior, and yeah, this guy was just drafted, and I think he's junior. So he's a very serious consideration. What exactly we would trade to get him is another story. I'm going to write down his name for reference. So it's Ciarelli. I think he was the first overall pick. Yeah, he would have been because Florida had the first pick. Man, I got a really stuffy nose today. I don't know why. Interesting. So the thing about his value is we might be able to pull it off with some combination of assets after we trade away a few guys. My hope is that we'll be able to save that Hughes trade for a higher value asset. It could involve him, it could not. So it could be like him and a first or something like that. But we'll figure that out. Nothing here, I don't think. So, he got signed, so it's not actually too crazy to pick him up. Point per game, he's probably a playmaker, yeah. Poise is great. Bottom six. We've got enough of the bottom six anyway, so just in contrast with what we currently have, that's a very reasonable contract though. And he's a right shot, right wing, which has been pretty rare so far. Yeah, he's an interesting idea, but this guy's a fourth line. But we got better options right now. This guy was on our list from before, so he would have used 1 year of his contract, I'm guessing, so far. This guy's probably got no years. So, it's his last year. It's line 3 fit, though. Maybe he's not as good as could have been. Also, his performance wasn't that great, so really, yeah. So I just erased him from the list here. So what's this guy's story? 12 points. Line 3 only. It's not good enough. We kind of need either top 6 forwards or first line, because in all likelihood, if it's first line, then they're probably transferable to the second line. We really need people for second line duties. Oh, Crosby's still playing. Look at that. 41 years old, 76 overall. That's wild. Why would he be playing AHL? You know for sure that he would have retired and wouldn't have gone to the AHL. So another guy we got rid of, 10.9 million. Again, it's not a crazy contract, and he also produced quite well. But you shave off that 2 million for a guy that produces the exact same amount. That gives you 2 million to spend on whatever you want to spend on. So, and you take that 2 million over 6 players. That's $12 million to spend on something. So it just doesn't make sense. Again, easier said than done when you try to translate this to real life, but you do what you have the options of doing. Okay, so that completes looking through forwards. So really it was only the first overall draft pick that we would target, which is super funny that that we have the luxury / the confidence, the thought of only going for like first overall picks and stuff. Okay, so then we need to figure out, and we don't have the information to do it. So we need to know who's going to play on what line, and as a result, what kind of players we need. So I think Judry's on the first. Oh, the other thing I need to figure out is how many. So we're getting rid of Hughes, which means we're eliminating a centerman, and we need a centerman replacement. Martins was a stud this past season, and his trade value, as well as his overall. So his overall, I think, was 82. And his trade value was I think it was like half what it is now. So he's really developed, and look, he's only making 2.1 million. So in all likelihood, I know for sure he's a first line fit. And I know for sure that Von Fersen and Gomez can play second line. So we have our centers sorted. I know we have enough wingers. So that means we don't need to pick up a centerman for Hughes. It means basically we can trade for whatever we want. So before I do that, what I'm going to do is trade all the players that were not. So actually, you know what? I'm going to change my. So the process thing that I was just speaking of previously, or procedure, or whatever, where I talked about looking at the trade targets. I had trading before investigating prospects or trade targets. Actually, I should rate that. And it's the reverse. So first we look for what we're going to get, and then we trade, obviously. But I just wasn't thinking when I was putting them in order. Okay, so we know this is where we need to kind of balance two things at once. We know we're getting rid of Hamilton. We already got rid of, what's his face, I believe. I think it's really tough. So what defensemen are out there just before I... Because what I would like to... okay, good, it did do the right thing. What I'd like to do is pick up replacement defensemen and then trade Morrissey and Hamilton. The question is, do we have good enough replacements? So 30 points, it's not bad. What he's asking for is also not bad. What was Morrissey's production? Only 18 points, but he kind of fluctuates. So he's got a higher ceiling, 50-ish points. So that's what we're going to try to get for two defensemen on free agency, 50 or 60 points, for somewhere under, ideally 7 million. So I don't think this guy's going to meet our criteria. Brandon, no. All those other guys are too expensive. I should at least bid on them, because maybe they would go for it. What is... Oh, and we were paying 8 point something million for the guys that we're gonna get rid of. 5 years, eh? That's tough. And the problem with this guy, so I believe we have to give compensation because he's an RFA. So it'd be an offer sheet, and I don't want to have to give that compensation. So it's not possible. This Jersey one's a reasonable pickup. His production, at least as of late, has been up to standard. His poise is fine, player type and fit's good. 8 million's pricey. We've done it before though. Or do we... So before I decide on that, I could have done it from the other screen, but whatever. So what lines do we currently have filled? So we have, in all likelihood, Provorov's going to accept our extension. Which means that's the second pairing. Hronik is already on the second pairing. Groslo is on the third. Valcor is going to be on the third. So that's second, second, third, third. So we want first pairing. Slavin's expendable for that reason. He can play on our first line, but he's getting older. I think we should trade him while he still has value. How many years left? It's his last year too, so we were debating on extending him, and I don't think we will because really he's not going to fit in. And to be honest, Groslo could move up to the first or second. Valcor likewise. Hronik, Provorov, same thing. So really, we don't need any of these guys. Lindstein, actually, he's probably going to play on the third pairing. That will probably move Groslo up. So actually, we only need one starting defenseman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So we need one starting defenseman. Could be pretty much any position because they're kind of all interchangeable. But ideally, first or second D pairing. And then one depth defenseman. So that means we are going to trade Slavin, Hamilton, and Morrissey. And sign some guy. Okay, so that answers the question. We need to... Oh, I forgot. I wanted to check what we're currently paying. So that's going to be our ceiling of what we're going to offer to probably Dursey. Our maximum is going to be 8.55. So that's what we'll turn out offering. Now it's just an arbitrary number, but since we're already in good shape regarding the cap, it basically means that that's the ideal price, or ideal maximum price. So Nyquist would be a great pickup, but the problem, like I said, is about compensation for the offer sheet, which I'm assuming is what would apply here. Okay, so Dursey, is there a substitute for Dursey? The answer is no. Or I believe the answer is no. Yeah, we're not going to get that production out of lower. So then it was 855 if I'm remembering correctly. 5 years is correct. And the reason 5 years is correct is because we keep him up to age 34. We always sign one extra year, so then that gives us basically the year to decide on what we're going to do. And in all likelihood, it's going to be a trade in the offseason before that last season. So 5 years is right. 8.55 is our maximum we're willing to do. And remember, we're only getting one guy, so we're actually going to be shaving off, well, it was like 8.2 something, I think, for Morrissey. 8.55 for Hamilton, I think is how it was. So we're going to have another 8 million of cap space that we could spend on anything. So let me just double check. 5 years, 8.55 is good. So we'll see what happens if he doesn't sign with us. No major deal. In which case we'll probably get like a backup like Gavrikov or Brodin or something else, and then move up one of our young guys to a higher position than planned. And we should be able to handle it. And we don't need to necessarily trade. That's a good point, actually. So then we should keep Morrissey in the case that we can't get Jersey, and shed the salary of Hamilton, because then that means we have the space to sign Jersey. So Morrissey's going to be our backup plan, or our contingency plan, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that solves that. Before we sort out so we're going to need our 7th and 8th defensemen, and they need to be worse or the equal to the young guys that we're going to be playing in that position, so in the case of injury and stuff like that. So basically that's going to mean approximately 82 overall, and preferably something 2 million or less. Again, that's kind of like that's a big ask to be able to get players of that quality at that price, but there's always almost always what you're looking for. You can get at the price you're looking for. So now we need to clear that cap space, which means we need to trade Hamilton. In all likelihood, he's going to produce at the same rate as he did last season. But you can't justify keeping a 36-year-old 82 overall at 8.5. It just makes no sense. Slavin could also technically be a contingency plan. Morrissey's a better fit on the first line than Slavin. And really we need preferably a first line guy. Orwell's second would work too. So I guess maybe Slavin would be fine. In any case, we'll let's consider now. See, this is where I'm starting to. There's a lot of things kind of all happening at once that I'm trying to optimize how we solve it. So preferably we have somebody in the green for him, which we do not. Which means maybe we sort out something else first. So in all likelihood, they're going to want first picks, and then they want a lot of our young prospect guys. Well, at least some of them, but like especially young players. So we're probably going to need to do something like a first in like 3 seconds or something to get this guy. So we need to build those assets some way. Hughes is going to go, but we can't use Hughes in this trade. Or I mean, we could. It's just we're trying to optimize what we get in return. Just before we start trading Hughes, we've got... let's go back to that screen, actually. We've got 1, 2, 3... I think it was 7 I said yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7 players of our top 9. 7 of 9 means we need to get 2 players in free agency is kind of the goal. Oh, wait. Before we do that, so under the assumption we're getting that other guy, the question is he going to play or is he going to juniors? He's 84, so he would play. Yeah, he's definitely ready to play. Look at that shot accuracy. And his puck skills are already good. Speed and all that stuff. Wow. He's a centerman too, which is an interesting fit because we're getting rid of Hughes. So then that means we would have 8, which means we need to sign 1 top 9 player. Or we would prefer to sign 1 top 9 player rather than trade for. So we might trade Hughes for like 3 first-round picks or something like that. So we don't need to pick up a guy like Pasternak or anything. Or I don't think so at this moment, but we'll just have a quick look here. So we can afford something like 8 or 9 million. Perfetti would be a great fit. Fits on line 1. And he's inexpensive. And there's enough out there. So Russ was another guy I looked at. So we don't need to trade for anybody. We can get them in free agency. So then we can trade Hughes for anything. And just before I decide to trade him for picks or whatever, I just want to see comparable trade value, guys, which is basically like the full trade bar. So you can see here, like, and it's funny that he's only set as elite rather than franchise, and I have a feeling that that's actually going to change to franchise at some point soon. But basically, we can get anything we want in a trade that involves Hughes. I don't like those guys. We tried to Chuck, and he didn't fit. Drysaddle's too expensive. DeBrincat I don't like, and he's too expensive. Nobody there. So we're just looking at the main large guys. Svechnikov, I don't think... Yeah. bottom six is not what we need, especially not at that trade value. He's a guy we should have picked up, to be honest, before, and we didn't because his cap hit was perfectly reasonable. So it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't pick him up, but I think that's the year that we picked up Kucherov instead. So, I mean, what's the difference really? I think Kucherov's better, so we got a better player. The other option is that defenseman that we saw. So trade and sign, we could always do that. And actually, that's a good idea. So we might consider that. This guy's another guy that's been consistently on my radar. His performance hasn't been as good as maybe it should have been. I think he was a fifth overall pick. A very good trade value. David, it's a reasonable cap hit given how good he is. How many years left? 3? We could trade up to McDavid. He's 32, 3 years brings him to 35. God, if we picked up McDavid, how good would we be? And he's technically his line fits line 2, which would be ideal on top of it. God, that's interesting. We totally could do it, but it feels like a misuse of assets given how good we already have. It would be overkill. Like we'd have, would it be overkill? Why not have an even better roster? Jeez, that's tough. 32, he's aging, he's going to deteriorate. Use him for 2 years and then trade him. I'm trying to work towards stability too, that's the problem. God, that's tough. Because they're basically 1-for-1 trade value. Like it's not far off. Oh man, that's tough. See, because the problem... So if we pick him up, we're more likely to win a cup. But it delays our ability to... So if we trade Hughes for first round picks, we're probably going to get 2 or 3 out of it. And that helps us in the long run. We've already got enough to win a cup with all our players right now, so we don't need McDavid. We're going to pick up probably a couple signings in free agency, and then that's going to make us just as good as we were last season, and every other season we've won the cup. But with McDavid, we'd be even better than with Hughes, more likely to win a cup for the next 2 seasons, and then we could trade McDavid. But then we're losing on opportunities to pick up other assets like that defenseman I was talking about. And there's a lot to balance there. $39.67, $39.60, and McDavid with us would be 96 overall, 93 overall. Like I think he would just dominate. It's super tempting. I'm going to keep it on the list of maybes And this is the reason I wanted to go through all the teams, because there's stuff like that that could make sense. And that's where it's awesome the way that Hughes has worked out. So Hughes, his trade value used to be something like this, and now it's basically the same as this Matthews one, which is great now because we want to trade him because he wants to sign for too much. He wants to sign for, I think, more than we could get McDavid for. So why would we have him versus McDavid? It doesn't make sense. Who is this guy anyways? Offensive defenseman, 87 poise. How long is he locked up for? Only one season. Yeah. Kaprizov. Pretty decent value now. I think the problem is his contract probably... Oh no, he's still got years. Brings him to 35. But why trade for him when you could trade for McDavid? Huh. Man, his trade value was like way, way higher, and then now it's like tanked. But I think it's because his team's been bad and his development's been bad. Bedard, we know doesn't fit. He didn't fit before. But maybe he does now. 9.7. It's a reasonable contract. But again, why would you trade for him when you can trade for McDavid? Did Pasternak retire? No, he's just really tanked on his trade value. Is it his last? No, it's not even his last season. His production's still nearly as good. It's odd. Who's this guy? Did I miss him before? Oh, he's defensive. That's why I disregarded him. Pedersen's too expensive. Connor doesn't fit, I'm pretty sure. Lacks loyalty. In real life, he doesn't. I don't like how they characterized him. Okay, so then, how come that defense guy never stood out? So ideally, I'd like to pick up a young defenseman in a trade for Hughes, but like I just explained, we could trade up for McDavid. And we've got enough assets that we could do that. And then we'd be deferring our first overall picks for when we would trade McDavid away. But we could probably still get a first round pick with the guys that we're going to be trading away, like Morrissey and Hamilton and all that. God, this is tough. I've spent more time thinking than doing in this stream. Sorry for that, but there's so many conflicting decisions. His production hasn't been good enough. Him neither. This is one of the guys I think that's trying to get signed, but I forget what he was asking for. Wasn't it like $8 million? 23 points. 22 years old. Two-way poise is good. I gotta write down his name. Sergeyev, Chicago. Oh, this is the guy. What was the other guy's overall? He was 87 as well. Nyquist. 20 points. 16 goals is very, very good. Good poise. Nyquist. Colorado. Yeah, I'm really torn on this one, what to do. This guy would be good. The problem is, it's like I was saying before, that 79 overalls, not quite there. .22 Brennan, defensive, that's why we don't want him. Kern, defensive. Okay, so that's it. We've got 2 potential D targets. We could accomplish those maybe with the other assets. Let's see if we can. So let's see, because then that means we might be able to still get McDavid. So actually, what are they asking to be signed for? So Sergeyev is asking for crazy too much. He's definitely a no. Nyquist is asking for quite reasonably 8.3. So then that means we're going to try to trade for him. So that's Colorado. And that's our first step. See, the problem is that he's on an expiring contract. I don't like that. But we know, so we know what he's negotiating for, which makes it, oh, and they want to trade him. Huh. I guess because they can't afford to sign him because they're spending far too much money on their top players. Remember, just take a look at this. Makar, 11.5, McKinnon, 12.6, Rantanen, 10.5, and Newhook, 10.76. This is a great example of poor cap management. We've got players that are producing the same or better than all these guys and making half as much or a third as much or sorry, not a third as much, 2/3 as much or 3/4 as much. There's just no reason to spend that much. Look, and the 8.5 for Gerard, it's all stupid. $6 million for other guys in the depth, it's just so stupid. In any case, so we're going to try to get him. They want to get rid of him, which is great for us. The problem is that we don't have anything that we're trading that they want. So then what? So we know that Hughes is going to get probably 2 to 3 first round picks. So do we trade Hughes? We want Nyquist and we want Fiorelli. And then Fiorelli, was it? No, it's Chiarelli. I mistyped that, I guess. And then I think their team was also looking for the same stuff. So they want first round picks and the same prospects that the other team wanted. That sucks. Us waiting for this Calgary pick is a bit frustrating right now. Okay, so I guess we have no other alternative than to first trade the guys we're getting rid of that these guys don't want, pick up assets that they're going to want, and then trade them, those assets that we pick up. So it's going to have to be a multi-step process. So we want to trade Courtnall. He's the highest value of the guys we're trading, excluding. So we're going to hold off on the Hughes thing because we might go for McDavid. So it was Courtnall's the top value guy. So we need to find a trade partner that's willing, so that wants him and is willing to give up a first, hopefully. So they don't. We're probably not going to find a good trade partner. These guys actually could work. So Chicago, maybe. Columbus, maybe. I don't think anybody ever sets their number one as red. So here we would probably trade up to a first and then use that first with something else to get one of Chiarelli or Nyquist. Or maybe what's better, let's try this. Does anybody want Courtnall and Hamilton? That would be ideal, because then we can definitely get the first pick. Huh. Because we could maybe do these Hughes for McDavid and a first. And then is that going to work out in terms of McDavid and 2 firsts, I think it would turn out being. And those 2 firsts to get one of those guys. Let's hold off on them first. That's complicated. Philly doesn't seem ideal. Pittsburgh doesn't seem ideal. Washington, not ideal. So Edmonton's not gonna work, I don't think. We might have to trade for the following year, because I think Philly had the following year as high trade value, or higher trade value. The problem is we're giving them players, so that might actually dip as a result of the trade. Seems like second year is better value. Cardinal Hamilton. 2 firsts? Can we pull off something like that? I think we need a weaker team though, because we don't want to have it where we trade the assets to them, which make them better, and then from there, those first round picks don't have the same value, and then that defeats the purpose of the whole trade to a weaker team. I don't think these guys are going to dramatically improve Pittsburgh. And actually, Washington's, I think, the weaker of the teams. Let's make sure of that. So Philly is kind of Pittsburgh's worse. Washington is even worse than Pittsburgh. So let's try to do Washington. 2 firsts for Hamilton. Cardinal. And what else can we give you to make this happen? You want our entire franchise. That's kind of funny, eh? We could give you Slavin. We could give you Morrissey. Slavin is for sure going. But like I was saying, I don't want to improve their team so much that it messes with things. So maybe even rather than giving Hamilton, try to do 2 seconds with that shake. It's pretty close. And again, this is where I kind of wish I wasn't waiting on that Calgary first, but I already made my bed, so I'm not going to go and mess around with it too much. Well, I could. I really could, actually. Can we pull it off any other way? So we do have our first, which is basically a second, because we're always going to compete for a Stanley Cup. So we could do this, and it still does what we want. In which case, what's the point in having both of these? So let's try this. So this is the difficult thing, is balancing where we're getting good assets and we're able to execute a trade without giving them things that make those assets lose value. That's the problem with trading for picks. We still might be able to pull this off this way. I hope we can. That'd be really good. Let's try a third and a fourth. This. Ah. I actually have a feeling this is gonna. I was gonna say that I have a feeling that this is gonna work at some point, but I'm not so confident actually. It's gonna be close. So still no. What else can we do? We can include Hamilton. I hope that doesn't improve them too much. They're not a good team, so I don't think it will. The problem is we certainly, after this trade, need to trade those picks immediately before Washington can sign players and actually turn into a good team. was close, but no dice. Okay, if that's the case, then what do we do? Maybe we make this an extra step in the process. So what I'm thinking now is if we go get one pick from these guys for whatever we're going to have to give up, which we will be able to accomplish it, and then we do the same thing for the next team, and then we should be able to accomplish 2 first overall picks. I'm going to have to think about something else here too, because then that means I don't think I'll be able to pull off that McDavid trade. Unless I get rid of that Calgary pick and deal with that later. But then if there's a franchise guy this draft, we can't do anything. Well, so we know we want those players, so at the very least we need to make sure that we get those guys. So deal with that first and then get our bearings after that. So Courtnall, we can still give up. Won't do Hamilton. Do a mix. So Courtnall in a first for Washington. Washington's first, or do we actually know what we might have to do? Actually, I think it's better if we do this actually. Okay, so Courtnall in a second for Washington's first, and we'll figure out whatever the mix is. It's probably, I don't want a chance where we lose on value, so I might as well do the process normal. So this should go through at some point, whether we get 2 picks or 1 pick or no picks is the question. Whoops. But we're going to get that first in this. It shouldn't be a problem. If we have to give up more than Courtnall in a second, that's going to be a bit... Okay, good. Cool. Okay, so we got our first step in the process, which means we can do... Our priority is going to be Chiarelli. He was with Florida. Actually, before I do that, I should save. Man, I'm really, as complicated as it's getting now with managing our team, I'm pretty happy with how everything's going because I think we're getting. So I thought we would at some point kind of take a step back, maybe have players that are too young and not compete for a cup. But I have a feeling we're going to compete for a cup every single season. And I think we're getting better, which is crazy. I doubt this is going to work. Let's try. I also think this is not going to work, but we'll go through the process as normal and cross our fingers that something better than expected works out. Because that last one actually turned out better than expected. And if you saw, that trade value of the team didn't go down, I don't even think at all. So then that actually makes it where we can pull off this trade more easily. I hope we can do it with that fourth included. And if we can't, we might need to do another move. Oh, we could actually use our first pick. Because we do want to get rid of that at some point too. And if we're going to do it for anybody, it kind of makes sense for this guy. So let's do those. I think that's about right. We'll try third and a fourth. So this should go through at some point. What the exact trade's going to be, I don't know. It's probably going to be similar to what we just pulled off with getting that Washington pick. And one thing I was just thinking is, let's just pause briefly. So Chiarelli, third, and a sixth. What I want to see is if Colorado wants that first overall. They don't. Okay. So it's no different between the two teams. I think I said third and a sixth. Third and a sixth. I guess I did already offer that. So it's probably going to be Chiarelli and a fourth, because that's what it turned out being. A first and a fourth is what we got in return. Well, maybe not. Better not have to give up more. That would be annoying. Really? Okay. If you say so. Thing is, this trade's happening no matter what. It's just how much we're going to have to give up. Well, still no way. Second for a third and a fourth. So this better go through at some point now. So we're starting to get to where they're asking for is ridiculous. Now, what we're giving up is not, remember, they're not green, so that means it's not what they're looking for. And what we're trying to pick up is black, so it's not what they're looking to give away, so it's kind of tough, but oh, I should try fourth. I thought I still had my fourth pick in there. Still no. You guys are annoying. See how we're giving double? Oh god, you guys are brutal. So what this means is that we need to trade some of our assets to then get or to add to this. So basically, like for example, we would get another second pick to maybe pull this off. But since they're being so fussy, let's pull off the other trade first because we know we should be able to, since this guy they want to get rid of. So what we'll have to give up, I don't know. So let's start with equal value-ish. We can deal with the next one after. Also, the benefit of this is it gives us surety when it comes to, I think that word I'm using right, when it comes to having another defenseman. Talking about that, do we even need him? Because we tried to sign the other guy. That's a good question, actually. I think we can send one guy to junior, though. So it won't be the end of the world. Now, I forget if I just did this. Pretty sure I did. Maybe I didn't. What did I just do? Nyquist and a third for Washington. Second. I gapped out and then because I was talking and then now I can't remember if I did something stupid. So I tried. Was it a first and a fourth is what I had tried? Give me a sec. I'm going to go and see if I can find out in my stream where I was at. So I was at, yeah, it was a first and a fourth for Nyquist and a seventh. And then that didn't work, so I changed the fourth to a second. And Nyquist in a third. So technically, I guess I should have been trying Washington in a second for Nyquist, a third and a fourth, and then worked from there. So I don't think, if I did mess up on the value, I don't think I messed up by much, so that's okay. So even though I gapped out, I don't think it dramatically impacted the trade. Okay, my bad there. I gotta stop. I gotta pay more attention and stop talking. The problem is I'm trying to make it, somewhat entertaining as I'm doing it, and that is the problem. So we'll save it, even though I maybe could have gotten more. Alright, so then that means I think I might have more defensemen than I wanted to do. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is he all the way down there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if we get rid of Falcor to junior, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add in the guy we just tried to sign, that's 6. So Valcor's, even though he's played one season already in the NHL, we're going to have to send him to junior, which I think won't impact the usage of his contract. I think that can be done. So that's what we're going to have to do. Now we need to negotiate with what's his face. You want 8.3. You want 6 seasons. If we do more, you want less. What's your performance been like? 16 and 4. 6 and 10. 16 goals by a defenseman is a lot. Man, and he's 87 overall already. I think we're gonna, because what? So we don't have RFA status on, essentially if we do anything. 2 years, it doesn't make sense to do 2 years and then extend him for some crazy amount he's going to ask for. So if we go for 8, which is against my rules of my strategy, it allows us to get a lower cap hit right on target with what we want. So that's actually very, very good. Okay, so in real life, I might not do something like this, but given the circumstance, I think it makes sense. So we're going to do 7.45, which is what he's asking for based on the years, times 0.9, which is our factor that we always multiply by, gives us 6.7, which is very, very cheap, given how good he, in all likelihood, is going to turn out to be. So that's 705 means we round up to 725. Which would be crazy to lock him up at that price. Hopefully, I mean, the concern is that he doesn't produce to the level he should, but it's a gamble I'm willing to take. And as always, if he doesn't work out, we just trade him. So that is excellent for us. Save that too. Now we need to figure out how to get Chiarelli. And if we can get Chiarelli and still get McDavid, which is going to be very, very difficult. Hi, Joe Biden the fourth. That's funny. I am not an EA employee. Given how well I've done, they should hire me. But no, I'm not. I have no connection with them. All right, now what do we do? So we need Chiarelli, but we need to get assets that they want, which it's not a first, so I don't know. Oh, and this also means now 100% we can get rid of Slavin. Hamilton was already in the works to be traded. And likewise, Morrissey can be traded. Yeah, no inside info on NHL 24. You've probably seen the trailer for it. Some of the stuff I think looks really interesting, like some of the physics and goalie stuff, and I hope that pressure system isn't too unrealistic where like when you're stuck in your own zone, like I hope it doesn't really mess around with stuff too much because I want it to be realistic. I don't want it to be like I know it's a video game, but like too much like a arcadey kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll see how it all pans out. I have no inside information though. Sorry, Mr. Joe Biden the fourth. Still a funny name. All right, so is there anyone that wants... Ooh, somebody does want all three of them. Can we... Ooh, this is going to be a funny one. Can we do... No, because we're giving them too much salary. Does anybody have any bad contracts we can take on? Because maybe we can pull off this McDavid thing. I mean, we still probably have a shot at doing it. I just don't know if we'll... No. Okay, well, we'll see if there's anybody else that likes all three. Nashville. What's your first overall looking like? Decent. So maybe two of them. We'll see if somebody wants all three and has cap space, such as this. But I feel like their first overall is going to decrease in value. That's the problem here. Let's hold on. Still no. Anaheim. This one's tough. It puts them right up to the cap. How good's their team without these guys? Pretty decent. Not yet. We'll wait. We should probably split it up. I think that's the smartest call. This team's not that good. It's got 2D, 3 more D. Their offense isn't that great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 good forwards. Would this put them basically right up to the cap? This one's close. So Ottawa's not a bad call. I think Anaheim's too good. 1, 2, 2D. So I think we can pull it off with Ottawa, where their first overall pick doesn't change. It's still a bit of a gamble though, because they say conservative seller too. Maybe we should split it up. Slavin and Hamilton, or let's go Slavin Morrissey. And Pittsburgh's the worst of them. We already gave the Capitals something, so we don't want to give them more. So it's going to have to be Pittsburgh. They have 1, 2, D. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. So we'll get there first. Maybe we should be able to pull this off. maybe. I don't know. This one's going to be tough. We might not be able to pull it off, but it's going to be close. And I really like, I mean, it's maybe risky, but I like the fact that we're actually getting younger on D. And it's kind of stabilizing in some way. Yeah, let's try this first. So it's like, so we've got these young guys that hopefully we would have very long term. And then that means we don't need to make as many changes to the lineup or to the roster. And we can keep competing, same team year after year for the cup. That's kind of what I want to get to. Because if we do this whole McDavid thing and then don't get these other guys, we're basically postponing making making the team long-term stable. And I'd like to eventually get to that stability, or get to that stability quickly, because then I don't have to do this every off season. It'd be nice to avoid it. What else do we do? Oh yeah, we have that other first overall pick. I forgot about that. I mean, to give up a first to get a first, maybe it's not so crazy if we get rid of Morrissey from the trade. Something like this then. At some point, I'm pretty sure this is going to go through. And then based on, like, if this does in fact go through, then I think we might be able to pull off that McDavid trade as well. But it's going to be really close. Yeah, it's going to be very, very close. Man, the amount of assets we have to give up to pull off these trades. Playing this on everything hard is ridiculous. Like, look at the trade bars. Like, we get demolished. We have to give up double the value pretty much every single time, except for rare cases. Man, this has to go through at some point. If we can't pull it off with that first and some sort of other asset coming back, I'm going to be surprised and annoyed. I mean, we still have options with other assets, like, well, Morrissey adding into the trade. Come on. God. All right, well, I guess we'll have to add in Morrissey. Would I rather Morrissey or Hamilton? Let's go with Morrissey. For a first, let's do a third and a fourth just to be sure. Work our way down. Man, I spent like this whole stream doing like 3 trades or something. It's bit ridiculous. Mind you, I've been strategizing, and that's eaten up a chunk of time too. It's not for nothing though, because there's so many moving parts to what we're trying to pull off right now. This is where clearly in real life it's not easy to manage a franchise, and you're trying to navigate this stuff with multiple teams, all these players. To be honest, well, I'm doing this by myself. We don't have my assistant GM helping me. So I don't know if it would be any more difficult. Obviously, yes, but I don't think it would be that much more complicated. I mean, there's contracts and stuff. It's not just like trading people or saying I'm going to give you X amount of dollars. It's not that simple, but God, we're giving up so much. It is exactly double the value now. It's starting to get ridiculous here. Or nearly double the value. No way. Like, come on. Stupid. If we give them 3 guys, are they going to get too good? I don't know. And they can't do it anyways. Okay, so then... what do we do? This is tough. Okay. Hamilton to the Capitals. We'll just get whatever assets back that we can, I guess. 3rd and a 5th. It's not enough. 3rd and a 4th. Is that enough? I don't think that's good enough. So 3rd, 2, 6. That looks close to right. Or at least as a starting point. Try 2/5. What? Really? We actually won that trade. Okay. Then now how do we do this? Let's go Morrissey to, we need a garbage team. I forget if these guys are any good. good, not bad. Pittsburgh's ideal. Philly, I don't think we're improving too much. So then we will go try to get a second. Can we do that 1-for-1? Guess not. So we'll do maybe let's try to get a first here. I very seriously doubt this is going to happen. But we will try. So what I'm going to try to do is package all those picks that we just picked up with Morrissey in that first to try to get a better first, which was originally the plan, but I made a mistake there actually. See, this is what I mean by talking. I get distracted and could mess up. No. Fifth to, no, so we want the fourth to a third. The fifth to a fourth. The fourth to another third. The fifth to a fourth. And the answer is no, we can't pull off this trade. So then instead, we will do Morrissey. Pick up a second. Fifth for a 6. Okay, so we moved up in value of assets. Now we need to do that again using these picks, hopefully. So a third and a third. Who's a bad team? Let's just go with Arizona. So 2/3 for a second, and we'll try 6. 7. third and a fourth. 2/3. 2/3 and a fifth for a second and a sixth. And a 7. All right. Now we can we we can reattempt for a first. So now we go back to Pittsburgh because we didn't trade with you guys yet, I don't think. No, so we want your first. We will give you, and again, we're losing on all these trades because eventually we're going to get what we want, and we kind of have no choice in the matter to accomplish what we are trying to accomplish. So, well, and the difficulty of the game. Slaving in a second for first. It's not really necessary to try this because it's not going to go through, but just so I don't make another mistake. And since we're already losing so much, we need to try. So I'm gonna, already am over time on this stream. I'm gonna go, I think, until I pick up that Chiarelli guy from Florida. Now, really, what we could be doing is trying to trade these direct for Chiarelli, which is maybe even a better idea. The problem is that the ballot. Actually, maybe I should do that. Attempt that first. The reason is because the second picks they actually do want. So this might actually work. Because before I don't think I had the picks to make it. Actually, man, this one's going to be close. I might be able to do this and that McDavid trade. It is super close. We won't have any picks, though. That's the negative of it. Oops. I forget, do we still have that first Toronto pick? We do, actually. Huh. Oh, this is so tedious. I wish it would just tell me what they would trade for, and then, like, if they did like counter offers or something. The other option is we trade. So if we do that McDavid trade, that we trade McDavid as soon as there's a franchise player. So we use him actually in the trade to get the franchise draft pick to then choose the franchise player. It's an option too, because then that means we don't even really need to pick up the first, and then we don't have to lose on the value. Actually, that's a very smart idea. Then we don't ever have to lose on the value of trading for firsts when they deteriorate, or because like a team, like let's say we pick it up a first pick, and then the team plays well, and then that first pick is worth nothing, which has happened to us multiple times. Then we just wait until the franchise player, whoops, and we'd be trading McDavid as part of it anyways, I think, in the end. So why not do that? Huh. I think that's going to be the plan. So long as we can pull off this trade, because that's kind of contingent. Am I using that word right? Contingent upon this trade working out? Anyways. Because this we want for sure. I mean, McDavid would just be gravy. If this doesn't go through in this stretch, then that means we're going to try, we'll have to do the Slavin to somewhere else. And then whatever we get back to then trade for this guy. Okay. So that's going to be what we're going to have to do. Where is he going to go to? Did we trade to you yet? I don't think so. Okay, so we haven't tried for the first, I don't think. Slavin and a first for first and a third, fourth. pretty sure. Well, maybe no, I haven't done this because it would have told me if we offered the same thing. And I still keep forgetting that we have that Calgary pick that we can technically use at any point. Man, you guys are annoying. Like, it's crazy how much we lose on all these trades. Like, look at, it's a double already. Like, just give us a break already. That's still not going to go, is it? Of course it isn't. God, still no? This is unfair. It's like, it's ridiculously unfair. Like, look at this. What, we have to give up triple the value? Like, how's this any fair? God, you guys are ridiculous. Like, come on. Um, okay then. How else can we do this? Let's do Calgary picks coming into play, I guess. Because I think that was Florida. We'll be able to pull off that McDavid trade with whatever assets we have left. And I think between all these picks, we'll be able to pull off this trade too. I think. But I'm not confident. So tedious. This guy was just a first overall, but a first round pick. And we're trading 2 firsts and a second. I still won't accept it. And since we're doing that McDavid plan, assuming it actually we can pull off that trade, which now doesn't seem as certain, but assuming we can, then that means we don't need that Calgary pick, and we're okay. But I don't know if that assumption is fair. Because this is getting... Oh, I guess we still have Slavin. I forgot about that. So maybe, I don't know. It's still going to be very close. Okay, so that means we have to trade Slavin first. This is ridiculous. So here we're going to want a not as high first round pick. Because the second round pick's not going to be good enough for us, I don't think. Maybe it's not even a trade option though. Might not be. It is here. Slavin for a first and a third, maybe. Or should we, since I'm going to trade to them anyways, maybe let's just try the McDavid trade, I guess. Hughes and Slavin for McDavid. It's approved. McDavid and a first. Now, does it make sense to do that maybe it does. For 2 seconds. Because I think we'll be able to work our way down into a trade that actually goes through here. Oops. I think even if we don't get that first back, I really do hope we get that first back. I was going to say, even if we don't, I think the trade's still okay, but maybe not actually. Yeah, we really do need that first back. This is a wild one. It's a massive blockbuster trade. I wonder if it's how much it's going to expect us to lose in the trade, because already we're losing. I don't think that's fair, but we can't really give up 2 second-round picks. I mean, we can actually, but we can actually, yeah, because I forgot we're getting that first round back, so that's 2 first rounds to go to try to get that other guy. So it might still be okay. Um, Now what? Oops. Huh. I'm not prepared to give up more than that. Florida doesn't even want Hughes. Okay, well, all that to not be able to even pull off that McDavid thing. So, McDavid's not going to happen, which is unfortunate. Another alternative is to hold value in assets that are developing and can't play. So, we're for sure getting rid of Hughes. And what we're going to try to do then, so this is something I did last time I owned this game, so NHL 14, which is a very long time ago, but what I would do is find, so for example, like a 17-year-old player that is nowhere near enough ready to play, so that like they're 60 overall or something like that, but their trade value is extremely high. So we're going to look for something like that and pick up first round picks. So like this guy is an example. Not quite what we're looking for. We want younger and higher overall. If this guy is not junior. If he was junior, then that would be a good option. This guy's not a bad option. This guy is not a bad option. But preferably better value. There were some goalies that actually work out. This guy's another guy we could do. And oftentimes, actually, goalies make sense because they're long-term development. That guy. Did he play any NHL yet? AHL. This is where we're at, like, some less than ideal circumstances, but this can still function as we want. See, because the thing, so picking up picks, we've seen already that they can go down in value, up in value. It could be a whole bunch of different things. This guy's great, actually. So San Jose will remember. What is he, sniper? Whereas those picks and stuff, they should retain their value pretty well, and even they could appreciate in value. So it's so in like business and stuff, it makes sense with business concepts. So you buy something that keeps its value, like a home or land, versus buying something, like a car that's going to decrease in value. Okay, so San Jose, unless there's a good goalie option, which I feel like there's going to be a goalie that's going to be better than even the guy we were looking at. There's one, Montreal. But he can't go to juniors, so that's not good. This guy can, though. This guy can go to junior, just not good enough value. So far this San Jose guy is the best value. And then if San Jose also had a goalie, that would be especially good, but I don't expect it. Did we already go past them? We did. So the answer is no. Nobody else. So then our best option of asset is this guy, and they don't want Hughes. How annoying. So it looks like we're going to have to reverse engineer it. So find a team that wants Hughes, and then hopefully they have some of those assets that we're looking for. Did they have a goalie? No. Yeah, I think that means he's used up all his junior years. So we won't be able to do them. What's his story? Nope. That's one guy. So if we have a couple of you guys, we might be able to do it. Any goalies? I think he can still go to junior. I think he's got 1 year of eligibility. So Arizona, maybe. I have a feeling no for this one. What's his story? No. Both those guys. Just the value's a bit low. Any goalies? No. So he is QMJHL, I believe. He's got good value, so Chicago looks like a decent option. He can probably go back to the Q, so Chicago right now is looking very good. So we'll remember Chicago. To send him back to junior would be hilarious. Chicago. That one's not bad. So it still looks like Chicago. That one's not bad. It's another one. Another one and a couple more. Wow, a bunch more. So Philly has a whole bunch. There's one with Pittsburgh. Okay, so I think I've gone through all of them. Let's double check Chicago. So that's one big one. That's basically it. Okay, wait, so I did the wrong thing there, but that's okay. So Philly's got everything we're looking for. We're going to take him. 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 There's a goalie too, I think. Him. First. So let's start with 2 first picks, I think. And that guy. And a goalie. And then just in case, a third. Really? I didn't expect it to be that easy. Um, maybe I guess I could have gotten more. Really? Uh, sure. I'll take it. I have a feeling we lost on that. Look at our look at our salary cap. Has our draft pick? It did go up in value because theoretically we're a bad team now, but we're absolutely not a bad team. Okay, well, before I do anything else, let's go save this. Maybe I could have, because maybe since his trade value is so crazy high, maybe I could have gotten another first. It just seems odd. In any case, though, I mean, since our draft pick appreciated in value, so long as we use it in this trade, and this trade goes through, then that means I think we got the equivalent value back on our draft pick, something like that, at least in concept. Let's try that. All right, and so we want to get rid of this first pick for this season anyway, so it's not so big of a deal to have to use it. Yeah, I had the same sort of thing. I'm just thinking now about that Hughes trade. I had the same sort of thing with that Chubarov trade. Maybe there's some sort of hidden trade value in those high value players, like the really super high trade value players, where you get more than it's telling you should. So maybe next time I have like a franchise player or something close to it, I need to be more careful. Ask for way more than I'm supposed to. Whether or not I'll remember that is a different story, but something hopefully I can remember, because I think that that's the case. Or it feels like that's the case based on now some more experience. And this is some of the learning curve of not having owned this game for so long. That's a lot that they're asking for. 2 firsts. They really don't want to give up this player. The one thing I like about this game versus talking about since the last time I owned this game is basically they stop negotiating with you if you keep offering so much. And here it doesn't seem like they change uh, their interaction with you based on how often you offer trades. I think that's a lot more, well, realistic, fair, so on. I think after this stream, since I have a backup saved, I'm just going to go check out of interest to see what I could have gotten for Hughes. I have a feeling, because I think I did the same thing after that Chubarov one. It wasn't massive, but it was a noticeable difference. And it's just funny because, well, now that I'm remembering, I went back and checked and still didn't learn from it. But I mean, it's so rare that you have a franchise or a very, very high trade value player to remember that. I hope I remember next time, but we'll see. So this, no matter what, I'm going to trade whatever I have to trade to get this guy. Like, look, we're almost triple value now. So we're not even really getting a replacement for Hughes, which is in theory very risky, but I'm not concerned. I think our team's just as good or better. God, this is ridiculous. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. So what? We're supposed to give up 3 first overall picks? So what? We tried 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 3rd, 4th. We have to use that Toronto one. Oh, God. Three firsts? Starting to get ridiculous. Oh, we've got those guys that we were going to keep. Well, sorry, that one. Why don't I just trade him? That probably solves it. That's not good enough. Let's do this then. Forgot about that guy. Glad I looked. Because then in this case, if we pull this off without having to use that Philly one, then we actually might have made up for what we lost in the other trade. I wouldn't be surprised if this is still complicated, but we do here? Let's try this. Huh, okay. That's not so bad then. So I don't really want this Philly first. But that's okay. So we have 2 firsts. That Philly first next year is actually probably going to be good value because Philly now has Hughes. Hughes is going to ask for like a $4 million raise. That's going to take up all their cap space. Their team's already not that great. And he's getting older. So that's totally or I should say that's a good, in all likelihood, a good asset to have. We don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, but we'll see. Okay. Now let's go save this. And I want to see where do we sit with our assets. Just traded 2. I want to see how our trade value changed. The pick we sent them. So it went back down to the low value. So that player we picked up, in theory, should have made our team better. We still have free agents we're going to sign. We have $42 million in cap space. A portion of that's going to be eaten up by guys we need to sign. So Nyquist, that was $6 million or so. So that means $36 million we still have. What's the cap floor? Doesn't tell me there. In any case, we'll be closer. Plus, hopefully that defenseman signing we tried. And worst case, we might have to just blow some crazy money on other players to get up to the cap floor. Which is fine. I'm okay with that. So, what's our forward situation? So we've got Chudry. I think Ollie fits on the second, so we could go Chudry on the first, Ollie on the second, Martin's on the first, Torelli we don't know, but I think his fit, I forget what it said his fit was actually. I don't know, he can be any line. Gomez second or third, Bernier back to junior, Von Fersen second or third, and Chuchkin second or third. So in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of our top 9. Defense, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We didn't trade Slavin yet? Who did we just trade with? Traded with Philly. Yeah, but we don't want to give him to Philly because then that makes them good. So it was Florida. Yeah, there's not really anybody else we were dealing with that we would have given up Slavin. So that means we even we have even more cap space. So minus 7 million. God, we've got way too much cap space. So we might splurge on some crazy, crazy expensive guys then, and then just trade them away. Wow. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God, and we can get rid of Slavin, and we still have a full top 6. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Valcor can go down if we sign what's his face that we tried to sign. He can go back to junior. We can get a depth guy. So this is where it kind of sucks that we already offered a contract to that guy, but the other teams competing to sign him are garbage teams, and we're probably offering the same amount to play on a good team. So you would think he would sign with us, but who's to say? See, the problem though of signing one of those really expensive guys is that he's going to take away minutes from good young players. Chiarelli was from what? We could make him overripe in junior. That's what we did with Judry, and he turned out to be 87. I think he started at 80 or 81. So that's doable too. Yeah. Interesting. That's kind of wild. I'm going to save a duplicate. So there's way too much going on right now in terms of how things are going to shake out. We still have so much to decide on. What are the free agents? Is there anything really good that we could have? We could pick up 2 of these D guys. Would that be smart? I don't think so. Sergeyev, we can't. Backers gonna require compensation. Psychov. Yeah, that would require compensation. Eriksson Ek. We could sign him. Oh yeah, Perfetti. So we could we could have like Rust on our fourth line. Perfetti, Rust, Eriksson Ek. We could get all these guys. That's so ridiculous. Lundell, where does he fit? God, we could get everybody. That's wild. Wowee. Okay. Anyways, we have to stop at some point, and I've gone over by an hour and a bit, so we'll leave it there. So this off season, excuse me, off season is going to be pretty slow. Yeah, still tons to figure out and finish. It's not the ideal off season for all these major changes because there's no good free agents to fill the spots that we could then use in trades. So that kind of sucks, but I'm okay with that. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. And the thing is, so I could sign those guys and trade them. Do the same thing next offseason, sign people, trade them. So I think I've just basically created this massive gap in spending, like clearly 57.7 million. You know, it's going to be slightly higher with some of the signings, but we've got all these young guys. They're all going to kind of come up for contracts in the next, well, 2-3 years, 1 to 3 years, stuff like that. So we're going to have a lot of money that we're probably going to have to spend. But I think in sum, we're still going to be below the cap, and we're going to have this stellar young team. So, yeah, really interesting. This one's going to be pretty weird to manage now that this has all happened and all the guys that we're dropping. But like a lot of these young guys now, they have, you know, playoff experience and stuff. And, you know, they're getting decent production. Yeah. And in theory, these guys have learned from the veterans in these past couple seasons, winning cups and stuff. You just hope that, I mean, again, it's just video games, so that's not necessarily true, but you hope that it kind of works out that way. All right. Weird. And then I have to take 2 days off now, so to get back to where I was is going to be interesting. I might watch the end of this stream or something like that to get myself back on track, but I'm pretty sure I already know kind of what's going on. It's basically just free agency, and that's about it. We just need to get to the cap floor, and we're going to spend as much as we need to get there. And then those assets are probably going to get traded, is basically the story. So anyways, so we'll leave it there. If you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. The channel homepage has upcoming streams on regular NHL content. Nothing scheduled at the moment, probably coming up in the next couple weeks, a month, once the off-season resolves itself. For things that can't schedule ahead of time, like franchise mode, that schedule is in the About section of the channel, currently on a temporary schedule. So if you're looking for the days, have a look at the About section. Hopefully I'll have a stable schedule in the next couple weeks, but it might take a couple more weeks for that to happen. I've got a bunch of different things I'm juggling, so trying to figure it all out. For Be a Pro, it's whenever I have time or feel like it. Any comments, leave them in the comments. Suggestions likewise, and we will see you guys in a couple, like I said, a couple days. So today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think. But anyways, have a look at the About section and it'll tell you. 9 p.m. Eastern, whichever day it is. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. See you guys. Okay, bye.